A prince choosing love over legacy. A woman stepping into the most scrutinized institution in the world and refusing to disappear inside it. The wedding was cinematic, the smiles rehearsed by destiny itself, the headlines breathless with hope. But here's where it gets interesting, because beneath the lace veil, the royal balcony waves, and the carefully curated interviews, another narrative was quietly forming, not confirmed, not proven, but whispered, analyzed, debated. A narrative that had less to do with romance and more to do with preparation. Some critics have long argued that this wasn't simply a love story. They suggest it was a collision between two entirely different survival philosophies. One built on emotion, loyalty, and inherited structure. The other built on independence, contingency, and contractual clarity. And when those two worldviews meet, the friction doesn't always spark fireworks. Sometimes it creates silence. That silence is what fascinates people. Because when Harry and Meghan stepped away from royal duties, the public explanation centered on pressure, mental health, protection, freedom. Meghan later spoke about trying her hardest, about collapsing into tears in Canada, about feeling unheard. Harry spoke about safeguarding his family, about breaking cycles, about doing what he believed was right. Supporters saw bravery. Critics saw calculation. And that split perception is where this story becomes more than gossip. It becomes psychological. Commentators like Tom Bauer have added fuel to that perception by presenting their analysis not as emotional outrage, but as structured examination. He doesn't shout. He outlines. He doesn't speculate wildly. He references timelines, documents, reported accounts. Whether one agrees with him or not, his tone shifts the conversation from fairy tale to framework. And framework is a dangerous word in a romance. Because love stories are supposed to be spontaneous, emotional, irrational. They're not supposed to feel architectural. Yet critics argue that from the beginning, Meghan demonstrated a strong awareness of brand, leverage, and autonomy. They point to her Hollywood background, an industry built not on sentiment, but on contracts. They highlight her previous marriage ending cleanly and privately. They interpret that as discipline rather than chaos. Supporters counter that discipline is not villainy. That independence is not manipulation. That a woman protecting herself in powerful institutions is not sinister, it's smart. And that's the tension. Preparation looks different depending on who's watching. To some, it's foresight. To others, it's strategy. The year 2020 intensified everything. A global pandemic, a royal departure, new business ventures, multi-million-dollar deals, massive media exposure. The couple repositioned themselves not just geographically, but commercially. That's observable fact. What is debated is intention. Critics suggest that during this period of upheaval, legal structures and brand positioning may have quietly evolved. They speculate about prenuptial agreements, amendments, intellectual property separation. None of this is publicly confirmed in detail. But the conversation persists because high-profile marriages often involve exactly those safeguards. And safeguards are not romantic. They are practical. Here's where the psychology deepens. Harry grew up inside an institution where protection was assumed. Advisors existed. Structures were inherited. Contracts were handled by the palace. Risk was absorbed by tradition. Meghan built her career in environments where nothing is guaranteed. Every opportunity can vanish. Every deal must be negotiated. Protection is personal, not institutional. Neither philosophy is wrong, but they operate differently under stress. Observers who analyze Harry's interviews in recent years often describe a tone of emotional intensity, openness, vulnerability, sometimes visible frustration. They note his lawsuits, his memoir, his repeated return to themes of betrayal and accountability. Meghan, by contrast, has appeared increasingly selective. Fewer spontaneous interviews, more curated projects, a stronger emphasis on independent ventures and personal branding. Some interpret that as control. Others interpret it as caution. The word that keeps surfacing in commentary is asymmetry. Not betrayal, not villainy. Asymmetry. The idea that one partner may be structurally prepared for every possible outcome, while the other is emotionally invested in a singular one. In relationships, public or private, the individual who can walk away cleanly often holds more leverage than the one who believes walking away is unthinkable. That doesn't require manipulation. It requires optionality. Critics of Meghan frequently use strong language, calculated, strategic, methodical. Supporters use equally strong language, resilient, intelligent, autonomous. The truth may sit somewhere less dramatic and more human. People who have experienced instability often prioritize security. People raised in security often prioritize loyalty. When those instincts collide, misunderstandings can emerge without a single raised voice. There's also the issue of narrative ownership. In the modern era, storytelling is currency. Memoirs, documentaries, interviews, these are assets. Intellectual property tied to personal experience is monetizable. That's not scandalous. It's contemporary media reality. If a couple separates, control over narrative becomes as valuable as financial assets. Observers speculate about who would control which stories, which trademarks, which foundations. Again, speculation, but plausible enough to sustain discussion. And plausibility is what keeps audiences watching. Because the most unsettling stories aren't the outrageous ones. They're the believable ones. Consider the contrast in public demeanor. Harry often speaks from the gut. He appears reactive to criticism, deeply affected by media portrayal. Meghan appears more restrained, more strategic in communication. That difference can create perception gaps. When one partner narrates openly and the other preserves silence, audiences assign meaning to that silence. Silence becomes leverage in the imagination of critics. But silence can also simply be privacy. This is where the narrative splits dramatically depending on bias. Some see a woman who entered a centuries-old institution and refused to be controlled by it. Others see someone who studied that institution carefully and ensured she would never be trapped by it. Both interpretations can coexist in public discourse. And public discourse is rarely balanced. The phrase fine print has become symbolic in commentary surrounding this relationship. The fear many people project onto the situation is not that someone was deceived. There is no evidence of deception, but that two people may have interpreted agreements differently. That one assumed emotional alignment guaranteed structural alignment. That fear resonates because it is universal. Most people don't read every clause with the assumption that love might one day be tested. But high-stakes marriages often require exactly that. If hypothetically legal safeguards were reinforced during moments of stress, critics might call that opportunistic. Supporters would call it responsible. The law does not punish preparation. It enforces it. And enforcement is neutral. That neutrality can feel cold when emotion is involved. Observers sometimes describe Harry in recent years as appearing worn down. Not explosive, not dramatic, but subtly eroded. Body language experts speculate. Commentators dissect interviews. But stress has many sources: media battles, family estrangement, public scrutiny, relocation. Attributing it to one cause is tempting but speculative. Still, speculation thrives because ambiguity remains. The deeper psychological layer is about attachment styles. One partner seeking reassurance and unity, the other prioritizing autonomy and contingency. In relationships, the person who feels secure in independence often appears more composed. The person who seeks reassurance often appears more emotionally exposed. Exposure can look like vulnerability or imbalance. Again, interpretation defines the story. If there were ever a formal split, and there is no public indication of one, the shock would not be drama. It would be structure. Who owns what? Who controls narrative rights? How assets were defined? But all of that remains hypothetical. What makes the current narrative compelling is the sense of slow realization that some observers project onto Harry, the idea that he might be recognizing the complexities of decisions made in faith. There is no confirmation of that. It is a storyline constructed by commentators. And storylines are powerful. They fill gaps where facts are limited. The most dramatic reading suggests that one partner prepared for every possible future while the other believed the present was permanent. The most charitable reading suggests both partners acted prudently in a volatile environment. The difference between those readings says more about the viewer than the subjects. Yet the fascination persists because the stakes feel enormous. Royal titles, Hollywood deals, global reputation, legacy narratives, children who bridge continents and institutions. Control in such contexts is not about domination. It is about stability. Preparation can look intimidating when it is thorough. Thoroughness can look cold when contrasted with emotion. But cold does not equal cruel. The underlying tension people respond to is the possibility of unequal awareness. The fear that in any relationship, one person may be thinking 3 moves ahead while the other is thinking about today. That fear is relatable far beyond royalty. And that's why this narrative refuses to fade. It taps into something primal, the anxiety of discovering too late that expectations were misaligned. If Tom Bower's analysis contains elements of truth, then perhaps we are witnessing the unfolding of long-laid groundwork. If his critics are correct, then perhaps we are witnessing overinterpretation layered onto ordinary marital safeguards. The reality may be less dramatic than either side claims. But drama thrives in the unknown. The cameras capture expressions. The interviews provide words. The filings reveal corporate moves. The public assembles these fragments into meaning. Meaning becomes narrative. Narrative becomes belief. And belief shapes perception long before proof arrives. So maybe the real story isn't about villains or masterminds. Maybe it's about 2 people shaped by radically different systems trying to build something under relentless scrutiny. Maybe preparation met assumption. Maybe independence met loyalty. Maybe structure met sentiment. And maybe neither side fully anticipated how visible every adjustment would become. Because once the world is watching, even ordinary decisions can feel seismic. The question that lingers isn't whether someone is evil or brilliant. It's whether the imbalance people perceive is real or projected. Whether this was strategic foresight or simply 2 adults navigating extraordinary pressure in the only ways they knew how. Do you think this was intentional or just a misunderstanding?